My dear friend, sitting here with me, connected through this space and time, have you ever, in a rare moment of stillness, perhaps when the city lights have dimmed and your loved ones have fallen into a deep slumber, allowed your heart to release a soft, heavy sigh? It is not necessarily a sigh of defeat, but rather the sound of suppressed hopes, the muffled echo of your own bewilderment as you look around and see others seemingly shining, succeeding, and advancing, while you feel as though you are standing still, trapped in the shadows of your own life. You feel unsettled, lost in the rushing currents of this generation, a world that seems to celebrate only instant achievements and fleeting glory. That pressure, that constant comparison, is like a thick fog enveloping your soul, leading you to wonder if the seed of your talent, the dream you have been nurturing in your heart, has long since withered away.
Today, however, I invite you to sit down with me, to brush aside all that noise, and to listen to a different truth, a truth as gentle and essential as your own breath. The truth is that the moments of darkness you are currently experiencing are not an end. They are the most powerful, silent preparation. A seed deep within the earth, buried in the darkness, is not there because it is dying, but because it needs time to take root, to gather its strength, waiting for the perfect, divine moment to emerge into the light. Together, let us walk through these moments of healing, to learn how to embrace our own perceived delays, and to understand that every life has its own unique spring, one that is never truly late. When we close our eyes, let us imagine a small seed resting deep in the soil of Mother Earth. This is not a dark grave. It is a warm, nutrient-rich womb of life. Many of us, when facing these uncertain days, when our personal efforts have yet to bear fruit, often mistakenly believe we have been forgotten, or that we are stuck in a hollow void. Yet, if we look deeply at the growth of an ancient tree, we see a different reality. Throughout the initial days, or even years, the seed does not emerge above the ground. It does not rush to sprout and flaunt its beauty under the morning sun. During this time, when an outside observer might think nothing is happening, deep within the dark, moist earth, the seed is engaged in the most magnificent, silent work. It is rooting. It uses every bit of its vital energy to stretch out tiny, fragile roots, piercing through layers of soil and rock, seeking water, holding fast to the earth to build a solid foundation. It is precisely this darkness, this pressure of the soil weighing down, that allows the roots to become sturdy and strong. If it lacked the patience to endure this darkness, if it lacked the quiet days of gathering strength, then when the seed finally emerged into the light, it would only be a weak blade of grass, easily toppled by the first breeze of the season. You too are in this process. The days you feel like you are falling behind, the moments you see your peers blooming while you are still struggling to find your path. These are the stages where you are developing your own roots. That instability is not a sign of failure, but a sign that you are building a foundation of character, an inner maturity deep enough to sustain the lasting glory that is to come.
There is an old Zen koan I often share with those who come to me in distress, about a Zen master and his young disciple. The disciple was a talented young man, but because he was so impatient with the rapid success of his peers, he came to the master full of frustration, asking why his practice was diligent and his efforts earnest, yet he saw no results, while others seemed to achieve things so easily. The Zen master did not answer immediately. He led the boy to the back garden, where a young bamboo shoot was growing healthily beside an ancient bamboo grove. He asked the disciple if he knew why bamboo could grow so tall without ever breaking in the face of great storms.
The disciple shook his head. The Zen master explained slowly that when one plants a bamboo seed, for the first 4 years, one sees almost no change above the ground. It remains a tiny sprout, barely growing. But in reality, during those 4 years, its roots have spread out across a vast area, weaving tightly together to form an immense hidden strength. And in the 5th year, in just 6 short weeks, the bamboo can shoot up dozens of meters high. The Zen master looked into the disciple's eyes and said gently that if, during those 4 years, the bamboo had been impatient and wanted to grow tall without rooting, it would have collapsed the moment it reached that height. Its success did not come from 6 weeks of rapid growth, but from 4 years of quiet patience in the darkness. That lesson from the master is like a stream of cool water nurturing the arid, pressure-filled soul of the disciple, and it is also a reminder for each of us today.
When we look at modern life, especially through the glossy frames of social media, where people only show their brightest achievements, their luxurious travels, and their sudden advancements, it is very easy to feel inadequate. The feeling of being an outsider, someone lagging behind in the race of our own generation, sometimes weighs on the heart like a stone. But try changing your perspective. View those only as someone else's flowers. You do not know how many long, sleepless nights they endured, what pressures they faced to reach that result today. Furthermore, everyone has their own season for blooming. Some flowers bloom in the spring, showing off vibrant colors, but there are plants that only choose to bloom in late autumn, or even trees that are resilient enough to wait until the bitter cold of winter to release their pure white blossoms. You cannot compare someone else's spring with your own winter, for every plant has its own divine timing to rise. What you need to do is not to chase after someone else's flowers, but to focus on tending to your own roots. Learn to enjoy the stillness. Learn to find joy in every small task you do each day, whether it is cooking a good meal, reading a few pages of a book, or sitting in meditation for a few minutes each morning. It is that dedication to small things, that consistency in nurturing your inner self, that will help you stand firm when your time truly arrives. Do not rush, for flowers that bloom too quickly often wither just as fast, while things built from deep, solid roots will always radiate a fragrance that lasts, enduring even the harshest storms of life.
By now, perhaps your heart feels a little lighter, like a lake after a strange wind has passed. Understanding that darkness is not a prison, but a place of nourishment is only the beginning. To truly be at peace on your unique path, we must turn that philosophy into breaths, into small actions in our daily lives. When you feel peer pressure closing in, when you see others rising on the ladder of success while you are still finding your way, learn to practice the breath of the seed. Place your hand over your heart, close your eyes, and inhale deeply, visualizing yourself breathing in nourishment from the earth and exhaling all anxieties and the need to compare. In that moment, tell yourself that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do to develop your inner depth. Do not rush to step into the light before the roots are strong enough, for haste brings only fragile glory that vanishes easily before life's challenges.
To practice this specifically, each morning when you wake up, instead of picking up your phone to gaze at the lives of others on social media, give yourself 5 minutes of absolute silence. Spend those 5 minutes listening to your own breath, feeling the life flowing through every cell, and being grateful that you still have the opportunity to learn, to grow each day. When thoughts of comparison arise,
Gently return to the present moment, observing them like clouds drifting across the sky, without letting yourself be swept away. That is how we practice the path of letting go. Letting go of the narrow view of others' success to return to cultivating the garden of our own soul. If you can maintain that consistency, if you can cherish the days of hidden growth like a seed waiting to sprout, you will find that peer pressure is no longer a burden. It is merely a distant echo outside the window, unable to disturb your steady state of mind.
This life is a series of miraculous causes and conditions, and everyone's divine timing never arrives offbeat. There are flowers that need the warmth of spring, but there are also lotuses that bloom in the mud of summer, and trees that only shine brightest in the winter frost. You too do not need your success to resemble anyone else's. You do not need to follow society's template or the glamorous metrics on a screen. As long as you are honest with the path you have chosen and persistent with your own roots, then even if you are in the darkness of obscurity or navigating difficult times, you are still moving toward the light in the most certain way. Trust in the process. Be as patient with yourself as you would be with a small sprout, for patience is the highest expression of compassion for oneself.
Finally, I want to send you a sincere message. If today you still feel unsettled, still feel those vague fears closing in, do not be too harsh on yourself. We are all practitioners, learning to grow amidst the changing currents of life. If you feel that this story has touched a hidden corner of your soul, feel free to leave a comment, a thought, or a story of your own below. Perhaps your sharing will be the inspiration, the light for another friend in your position to find faith and comfort. We are here not to compare, but to lift each other up on the path back to inner peace. Wishing you a truly peaceful day. Keep your heart as calm as a still lake, so that every step you take, every action you perform, is the blooming of a seed prepared well from within the darkness of compassion and wisdom. I look forward to seeing you in our next sharing, where we will again light a lamp to illuminate these ordinary yet truly miraculous days.